Good morning. Yes, that was well done. But anyway, I'd like to talk. I'm gonna leave it like that. I would just like to talk. As you get older, I think you realize that time. I said this a long time ago, but like I said, I gave up on time because you realize that time just doesn't stop. Time is the force that we all perish by, right? Time is inevitable. Or the end of you is inevitable. But all you ever have is the present moment. So like, you best spend your moments doing everything what you can, you know. I've got a lot on my mind. I feel like inside of everyone is the potential to be anything and everything, you know. And I feel like I can only speak for myself, but I feel like if I'm honest with myself, like you really have to be honest. Like, I'm not the smartest person on the planet, but I might be the smartest person on the planet because everything I need to know, I do know. If that makes sense. I don't know everything. Like I can tell you what someone else might know, but I must be the smartest because everything I need to know is right in front of you. And if you don't act on what you know, inaction, then you go nowhere. And that's what change. See, that's what makes people smart. I recently heard someone say something about, like, if some child was born because somewhere in the world with the highest IQ, but then you had someone who was born somewhere else who doesn't have a high IQ, but they've got, I don't know, they've got a PhD, they've got a successful business. It's the action that's made everyone think that he's smart, you know? Action. And I'd also like to say this, like, as I turn 20, and as you get older, I feel like I've become more aware of my surroundings, you know? You're not just there. Like on my birthday, when I turned 20, I realized, I was like, I want to have fun, you know? And I made something happen. Like, me and one of my friends used to say something like, when we used to go out and drink, it's like, yo, I'm in the backseat of my life right now. Now, if you analyze that statement, it's a funny statement. But is it though? Because the best position where you want to be is in the driver's seat, right? If you're driving down the road and you're not in the driving seat, you're in the car and the car's moving, something might happen, you know? Something might happen. And I feel like that's how people live their lives, you know? And I'm not guilty of that, if that makes sense. However, I think by not taking control, by not being where you want to be, because that's what life is. Life is a journey. And if you have a destination in mind, I think that's a problem. So if you don't have a destination in mind, you need to know roughly where you want to go, right? You need to know roughly where you want to go, because there's this saying, and it's like, idle hands do the work of the devil. And I can prove that to be true, right? Because if you really do nothing, then all of a sudden you are accustomed to, and you instantly take the influence from your external surroundings, right? And that's why we do the things we do. Almost, you can't stop that from happening, you know. You can't stop that from happening. But like Joey Diaz says, you gotta do something. You gotta do something. But that's exactly it. Because if you're doing nothing, then, well, nothing is impossible. You know, no thing. Like if you really were to put nothing into context, we'd talk about before the universe existed. Apparently that was meant to be nothing, and then something came from nothing, which, you know, now we're gonna talk about philosophy. But that's where everything comes from. I think by doing something, that's where everything comes from, you know? And by doing something, you're more aligned with the spirit that almost tilts you towards good, you know? Because you won't do something, if you really wanted to do something, you wouldn't do it out of, you know, malice. You know? And that's why I talk about everyone has the potential to be anything and everything. But life is weird, man. Very weird. Hmm.